What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the WCW Nitro Podcast. I'm your host. I'm Notorious One. I am Dom. I'm here with my man all the way down in Delaware. I am here with BDC. BDC, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Hey, what's good? It's another long week. This week does not feel like last week, which felt like it was 3 months long. This one only feels like maybe about a month and a half. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about some WCW. We want to take it back to November 6th, 1995.
Yes,
Nitro is in Jacksonville, Florida. They got Eric Bischoff, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Steve Mongo McMichael on commentary. And they kick off the show with a replay of Lex Luger putting the torch rack on Macho Man Randy Savage, and the doctor says that the Macho Man, he is not cleared.
Yep, he's not cleared to wrestle, but he's in the back and he's kicking stuff and he's destroying all sorts of things all over the place, but he's not cleared to come out to the ring and fight. So Macho, he's there. That's what they told us. He's kicking shit in the back, he's destroying stuff, but he's not cleared to wrestle. He's not clear to fight, so that's the reason why he's taking it out on everything in the back. They keep that in mind, and that at some point later in the episode, there will be a reason I want you to keep this in mind. I know they did also talk about the You Call the Shots main event, where they discussed the locker rooms. Yeah, that part. So the red locker room, which is basically the heel locker room, you had Ric Flair, you had Mink, you had Diamond Dallas Page, you had the Blue Bloods, you had Big Bubba Rogers, you had the Shark, and Flash Norton. And Mean Gene was in there, and you'll hear from him a couple of times throughout the show. In the blue locker room were the faces. You had Sting, Johnny B. Bad, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Evad, or Dave Sullivan, Alex Wright, the Nasty Boys, and Mr. JL, which Mr. JL made no sense with everybody else there, but we're going to leave that alone too. But, yeah, so that's where we stand at this moment going into the very first match, which is
our opening match. We have the Giant coming to defend his title, which is really not his, but he's out here defending it against Cobra. Cobra came out here with some fucked up theme song. Oh my God, it was so terrible. Oh, Jesus, I don't even know how to describe it, to be honest with you.
Imagine Metal Gear meets Super Mario Brothers.
Basically, yeah. It's like you hear like the army dudes trying to dial out. Oh my goodness, yeah.
And for the record, this is Lightning. So this is now his second gimmick.
That's Cobra.
Yeah, this is his second gimmick since we started this show. Because he was part of Thunder and Lightning a couple of weeks back.
Oh, my goodness.
So this is his second gimmick. In 2 months, his second gimmick.
All right, well, I'm about to break down what happened in this match. The bell rings, Cobra runs to the Giant, chokeslam, match over.
Wait. We can't forget the fact that the Giant, at the beginning of the match, when Dave Penzer is actually announcing the match, before he gets a chance to say anything, the Giant picks him up like a baby and holds him up, shakes him, trying to give him sudden adult death syndrome. And then when he put him down, he was like, It's for the championship, and he runs out of the ring. So basically, he punked him into saying it was for the championship that didn't belong to the Giant anyway, but it worked for the purposes of this match.
He was definitely shook.
He was absolutely shook. He got out that ring quick, fast, in a hurry. But yeah, this match was exactly what he said it was. Walk up, choke slam, match over. It was horrible. Wait, what did my notes say? Yeah. Because, of course, I have notes here every now and then. So what it says is, Giant comes out with the stolen WCW championship and picks up David Penzer. That's the note. Yelling at him until he declares the match a championship match. Squash. Bell rings. Giant gets hands on Cobra's neck. Chokeslam over. Pretty much the same thing. It was horrible. It was horrible.
It was.
Like, it was a good waste of, 35, 40 seconds?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Come on, WCW. Get it together now.
I know it's episode 10 and all, but damn.
Yeah, well, after this, we, just like you mentioned before, you got the red locker room, the blue locker room. Tony Schiavone, he's with Hacksaw Sting, JL, Nasty Boy, Johnny Bad, and Alex Wright. And then the fans can vote on which babyface you want to see them fight against. The heels, Mean Gene's in the locker room with Big Bubba, the Blue Bloods, Ric Flair, DDP, Shark, and Scott Norton. Scott Norton and Shark, they're still tussling from last week. They still doing it. So the fans get to vote. I'm not sure how you vote. Do you got to call 1-900-909-9900?
Yeah, it was a 900 number that you had to call. I mean, we could see it about as clear as day who was going to be in the main event. You had 2 ragtag locker rooms, and only 2 of them are in an angle together right now, and that was Ric Flair and Sting. But we were really supposed to believe that anyone else out of this locker room was going to be picked for a match. But that's neither here nor there. So I just laughed when I first saw the locker rooms, because I was just like, okay, yeah, I see Ric Flair, okay, I see Sting, and they're really the only ones that anybody would probably care about. So, but
looking at that locker room right there, the babyface locker room, Johnny B. Bad looked like he already had a match. He was already glistening and sweaty and whatnot. The Nasty Boys looked regular. They weren't going to get chosen. Evad, please.
Yeah, Evad.
JL, he was just happy to be there. And Alex Wright, yeah. It was going to be Sting. No. And not in the locker room.
It was going to be Ric Flair.
It was going to be Ric Flair.
You just knew.
Long story short. Yes. All right, well, after this, we have a promo. We see Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage chilling on Venice Beach. And Macho Man, he's rocking the dark colors now. And Hogan wants Savage to stick with him in the dark side. First thing, before we talk about this promo, who's that guy that they were with? Because he kind of reminded me of the dude from Bloodsport.
I have no idea. All those dudes were weird to me. I was like, wait, you really wanted to represent Venice Beach like this? Because you had the one guy who was singing and playing guitar, I think. You had
it looked like Damian Marley out there.
You had the dude that was sitting between them who looked like he's been out there for like a month. And then everybody else was just standing around like, ooh, I'm just happy to be here. So it fell flat. It fell flat. Mm-hmm. But of course, Don Corleone Hogan was trying to tell people what he was going to do to the Giant now that he knows their game. Which, now if anybody's wondering why, I wanted you to keep in mind that Savage was at the arena in Jacksonville, Florida, when he was in a segment with Hulk Hogan back in Virginia Beach, in Venice Beach, California. Yeah. So, yeah, about that. So, after this segment, according to Bischoff, Macho hurry up and got on a plane and flew all the way to Jacksonville, Florida from Venice Beach, California, only to be told he can't wrestle.
Maybe it was pre-taped.
He never showed up on the show, though. Never on the show. Yeah.
WCW still trying to figure things out.
Yeah, they're doing
they're
doing an amazeballs job of it. Amazeballs.
All right. Well, our next match, we have the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, with Jimmy Hart taking on the Renegade. And this is our first look at the Renegade. And if you guys don't know what the Renegade is or what's he about, he's a fake-ass Oakland warrior. That's what he is. He comes sprinting out. He takes out the Taskmaster. And then after a while, the Taskmaster, he's a brawler. He takes the, fight outside the ring. And Taskmaster whooping his ass. Mm-hmm. And basically, the Taskmaster won this match with a coup de grace, a devil stomp off the top rope for the 1, 2, 3. And after the match, Jimmy Hart, he throws some water in Renegade's face, and he smears and wipes the paint off his face.
Okay. So for the record, what the Renegade is exactly what Dom said. He was WCW's attempt at the Ultimate Warrior, because the Ultimate Warrior was in WWF and was not leaving. So, yeah, exactly. So, they brought Renegade in, and initially when they brought him over, this dude was over. He was getting W's and other stuff like that. At this point, though, he kind of he's fallen off a little bit. But yeah, he gets to this match. He's going early. He's got some offense going early, and then in a fashion I have never seen before, and I can honestly say I've never seen again. This match went from somewhat of a decent match to a squash. I've never seen a match go squash midway through a match before. It really just became a squash match. And then, like you said, coup de grace. He got hit with a couple of them, but the last one is what got him. And then Jimmy Hart, who basically kept saying to him, "You wanted to be the next Hulk Hogan," the entire match, goes in and wipes the R off his face. Is like, "You're not Renegade. You're just plain old Rick." And I'm like, okay. It's like, that's
basically just killed that man's career. That's all he just did right there.
You want to talk? If Buried was a meme and if Buried was a moment, this was it right here. Like, there's no coming back from having your face paint wiped off after getting squashed for the second half of a match and being told by the manager that you're just plain old Rick, gave his, I assume, his real name, and left them laying in the middle of the ring. That's what he did to him.
Yeah, his name is Richard Wilson. So yeah, you're Rick.
You're just
definitely Rick.
Plain old Rick. Wow, that's outstanding.
Yeah, Richard Wilson. He is the Renegade. He was born October 16, 1965, and he passed away February 23rd, 1999.
Wow. So he died 4 years after this match. Jeez. Okay.
All right, well, let's pick things up.
Let's go.
We see Mean Gene. He's backstage with the Hills, and Ric Flair, he's hot. He's telling Sting, if you don't like what I'm saying, basically, come do something about it. So they're still teasing, okay, you're going to vote. Everybody better choose Ric Flair and Sting. If you guys didn't vote for Ric Flair and Sting, it was going to be Ric Flair and Sting regardless.
Yeah, let me just be clear with everyone here who's listening, those who may have watched the show live back in 1995, and anyone who's thought about it since. Y'all just paid money to call a number. Y'all had no input on what this match was going to be. It was going to be Ric Flair versus Sting. They could have put Ric Flair and Sting in two locker rooms with a bunch of roaches. It was going to be Ric Flair and Sting. It didn't matter who was put in there. It was going to be Ric Flair and Sting. Y'all just wasted your 99 cents a minute to call to think that you were doing something, and you were actually doing nothing. I just figured I'd let you know that.
All right, well, our next match, we have Eddie Guerrero taking on Chris Benoit, and this is like, what, our third consecutive week seeing Eddie Guerrero, so you can tell they are pushing Eddie Guerrero right now, and every week he's fighting his ass off. So.
That, and again, this match was a really good damn match. It was a really good...
It wasn't the best one that we've seen between these two.
But it was definitely a good match.
It was definitely good. And Benoit, he came out with the crippler music.
Yep.
I'm not sure... Because before it seemed like the past couple of weeks it was like...
They didn't really have anything for him. It just kind of just...
Yeah, they had nothing for him, but now he got that crippler music. Like, okay.
The music we got to know him with in WCW anyway.
Yep, I love that theme song. And then, Benoit with all the intensity in this match. And then, my God, he was just dumping Eddie. Every week, Eddie's getting dumped on his head or his neck.
Eddie's getting his ass whooped.
And then, there was no Chris Jericho sighting, but there definitely was a lion tamer. Chris Benoit had that damn lion tamer on Eddie Guerrero. Oh, my God.
But Bobby Heenan called it the bow and arrow. I was like, nah, bro, that was a lion tamer. I don't give this. That was the lion tamer. Yeah, it was between that and that power bomb that he hit, that delayed power bomb he hit on Eddie Guerrero that landed on his head, I was like, yo, that was ridiculous.
You see how these two became best friends? Just keep
beat the shit out of each other.
Fighting the way they do.
Beat the shit out of each other till you gain that respect, and they became the best of friends after that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
All right, well, during this match, they do what they do in every single cruiserweight match. They show Sonny Ono and some Japanese wrestlers. They're just sitting there eating sushi and drinking sake. Yeah. And I'm like, come on, man. Here we go again. Like, every single time we have a good-ass match involving the cruiserweights.
They're always showing something to deflect from the actual match itself. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they've done that a lot.
But, so basically the finish of the match, the two guys are fighting on the ring apron. Chris was inside the ring. Eddie was on the ring apron. And Eddie basically counter into a pin, and Benoit's foot was under the rope, but Eddie got the win.
Yeah, so essentially, Benoit's feet were under the rope. So he couldn't kick out because his feet, every time he tried to kick out, his feet bumped the bottom rope and he couldn't get out from under it.
Yeah.
Referee didn't see it, so Eddie Guerrero got the win, which was hilarious. Like, that's how he ended the match. Like, he literally, that's almost as bad as John Cena taping Batista's feet when he against the ring post, and he couldn't get up to the count of 10.
But if you can't see it, you can't call it.
You can't.
So there you.
He was focused. Go. He was focused very hard on the shoulders. Very hard on the shoulders, like a good referee should be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh man!
But still, really good match though. Really good match. Definitely so far the best match of the three that we've had so far.
We got to do.
Then again, there was a lot of low hanging fruit.
Me and you, and maybe we get maybe Platino. Do like a watch along, I'll look up the best matches between Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit.
Yeah,
and we have our own best of 7 of Benoit
and pull the 7 best matches they've had against each other.
They had, I'll look at the match rating, and we'll start from least to the best. We should do something like that.
I like that.
That would definitely be good.
That would be an episode, just the best of 7 right off the bat. Yeah, I like that idea. I like that idea.
I gotta make that a note quick before we get to our next.
That right there.
Yeah. Hold on, right quick. Best of 7.
Yep. Look up the best matches they've ever had against each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Abel would definitely love that. Platino would definitely love that right there, because me and him are both that that technical style guy, and we got a long way to go, but that match between Brett and Benoit, I can't wait. I can't wait to relive, not the Owen Hart one. I'm talking about when they was going for the vacant world heavyweight title, I want to say, or the tournament, whatever. But that's a ways to go.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, it's your main event time. It's gonna be a short show. It is what it is. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
The fans that voted. Everybody called that 900 number, the 1-900-909-9900, the number that got me in trouble as a kid, and it's still embedded in my head because I still hear voice. Kids, get your parents' permission before you call this number. It's $1.49 a minute and 99 cents after that, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. Go fuck yourself. Yeah, but all right. So our main event, we have Sting taking on the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and Flair, he has no robe.
Yeah. Well,
in the words of the Hurricane, what's up with that?
Well, I mean, he literally came from the locker room. He didn't have a robe. Sting didn't have a jacket. They just...
Hell, at least Sting got his face painted.
Thank God for that. I mean, at this point, it's like they were ring ready. I mean, it is kind of ironic, though, that they were the only two guys that... Well, actually, no, not true, because Alex Wright didn't have a jacket either. But they were the only two guys, because Nasty Boys had theirs. The Blue Bloods I think, were in their robes in the back. We never really saw them
sitting there.
Evad
Evad
had his
doing Evad
thing
things.
on, and Blue Bloods was in the back sipping tea and eating biscuits or whatever in the back. So, yeah. So, but they came out ready to go, and ready to go they went. They were. I will actually say that this match was a really good match too. It was a really good match too.
Let me get into my notes. So if you guys remember a few weeks ago on Nitro, Ric Flair was looking for a tag team partner. Sting said, if you double cross me, you're gonna get it. Flair didn't double cross him, so they lit up Arn Anderson and Flying Brian Pillman. They lit their ass up. Next thing you know, for some reason, they had the rematch at Halloween Havoc. But early in that day, Flair got jumped in the parking lot, or wherever he was, by Flying Brian and Arn Anderson. And Sting was out there by himself. Then when Ric Flair finally came to the ring, he turned on Sting. And then they showed a video package. Like, when Flair hit him that first time, Sting got so pissed off. Like, he was, like, literally no-selling what was taking place. And he was trying to get Ric Flair while the Horsemen, Arn Anderson and Brian Pillman, was trying to hold him back. He was pissed off. So Sting won this match right here. So the match finally happened. Sting is all hyped up. And, my God, Sting is whooping Flair's ass in this match. It was so bad. They finally went to the outside of the ring, and Sting tries to go for a Stinger splash on the barricade, and he misses. He crashes and burns on the barricade, and then now it's time for Flair to, get some time to shine. And this was actually like maybe 17, 18-minute match. So they had a decent burn. They had some time.
It was a decent burn. Like, I will say this. This match gave you everything. It told you who they were. So at that point, Ric Flair's the dirtiest player in the game. He showed that. Mm-hmm. Sting was the ultimate WCW hero in the 90s. He showed that.
Yep.
When that dude was taking chops and just looking at him like, and what? When he got put in the figure 4 and he pulled Ric Flair from the rope and then stretched up and was pounding his shit. I'm like, yeah, this was vintage Sting. Vintage Sting.
So, like BDC said, Flair has Sting in the figure 4, and Flair is doing every tactic to, weaken Sting. Flair is holding the ropes to take advantage, but Sting, he drags Ric Flair into the middle, and then he was like,
it was nuts. And pretty much after that, it was all Sting after that. It was pretty much all Sting.
It was all Sting after that. Sting got up, he tore Ric Flair down. He was beating him up in the corner, and then it got to the point where referee Pee Wee Anderson tried to break it up, and Sting just picks him up and sent him on the turnbuckle. And then, oh my God! And then all of a sudden, Flair hits Sting with a foreign object out of his trunks. But that didn't make no difference, because Sting, he gets up and he superplexes Flair off the top rope, Scorpion Deathlock, and he gets the win.
Yeah, I'm still wondering. So that was that like I guess brass knuckles wadded in tape?
Tape, yeah. That's why I always say.
Yeah, because it was knuckles. It was knuckles, but it was basically looked like it was made out of wrestling tape. Which, let's get it twisted. If it was plaster of Paris in there too, that shit is hard as fuck. So yeah, but like you said, Sting gets the Scorpion Deathlock on. Flair gives up. Sting says, match is over. Sting says, fuck that. Sting does not let go of the Scorpion Deathlock. Wrestlers are coming out, trying to get him off. He ain't letting go. Security comes out. Dillinger comes out. Not with the baton this week, or whatever that stick was he had. And then Sting finally lets go. Climbs out of the ring. They're kind of marching him off. Sting turns back around, goes back in the ring and puts it right back on him, and proceeds to hold it on him again. And this time, No one's telling him to let go, telling him to, get off. No one's getting him off. It's just not happening. And in a strange twist, even though it would have been a better twist if they didn't call his name like 8 times before he actually showed up, Lex Luger comes down. He gets in Sting's face. He says something to him. Sting relinquishes the Scorpion Deathlock and leaves with Lex Luger. Everyone's looking around like, yo, what happened?
Hacksaw's like, huh?
He's like, yo, what happened? What are we, chopped liver? We sat out here for like 10 minutes telling you to let this man go. He comes out here, says 2 words to you, and you let go. So now we're building another angle to all of this. Yeah.
Yep, Lex leaves smiling, and Sting, he's dapping up the fans.
Right. So this plays into their friendship, which at that point is one of the reasons Luger's back, and one of the reasons why he's there. That Sting is kind of babysat him.
And don't forget, last week Luger was paired up with the Dungeon of Doom. Yep, don't forget that.
Sure was, and technically until further notice still is, because he was with Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart the following week was with the Giant and with Kevin Sullivan. So again, until further notice, he's still he's still affiliated with the Dungeon of Doom. So,
all right. Well, after this, the final segment of the night, we see Mean Gene in the ring with the Giant, the Taskmaster, and Jimmy Hart. And Jimmy Hart said in this contract that Hulk Hogan signed that if he got DQ'd, he will lose the title, and that the Giant is the champion because Hogan basically can't read. Well, he didn't sign. He just signed the documents. That's what it was.
So here's the thing. So this goes into the "There's Evil in Your House" segment from last week. So Jimmy Hart has power of attorney over Hogan's business affairs. So basically, while Hogan's off doing whatever he's doing, movie-wise and stuff like that, making movies that's going to go straight to DVD or straight to video, as Jimmy Hart called it, he was back at WCW making business decisions for Hulk Hogan. So when it came to the contract against the Giant, Jimmy Hart put a poison pill in the contract that says if you get DQ'd, you lose the match. He just says Hogan signed this. Hogan, trusting Jimmy Hart, signs it. Doesn't read it. He figured Jimmy Hart's handling his affairs. He's got power of attorney. Why would he screw him over? Mm-hmm. Well, he screwed him over. So he announces the Giant as a champion. Giant is all happy. And then Mean Gene calls out a lawyer for WCW who has been consulting with the president, Nick Bockwinkel. Mm-hmm. This lawyer, which I don't remember his name.
I forgot his name too. I don't have it.
It really doesn't. He announces that Jimmy Hart is only half right. Hogan losing the title by disqualification, he's no longer champion. However, due to the nature of that poison pill being added to the contract, Giant's not champion either. They're basically holding the title up. Vacant scores another championship, and it will be awarded to the winner as opposed to World War III coming up and determining a number one contender. World War III will now determine the champion. So that is where it stands. They forced the Giant to give up the title, which was essentially Kevin Sullivan. After everyone's screaming and yelling about how this isn't fair, Kevin Sullivan takes the title off of the Giant and gives it to the lawyer, which was about as anticlimactic as it could ever get. I fully expected him to get chokeslammed halfway to hell, but it didn't happen. I guess they didn't want to get fired. And that was it. The statement's issued. Giant gives the title to the lawyer, who's about Jimmy Hart's size. Everyone's yelling at Jimmy Hart, and then you have Bischoff and Heenan and them talking inside the command center, their commentary area, and You see the Giant in the background, still in the ring, picking up pieces of paper, reading it. You know, because they tore it up. So the Giant's now picking up pieces of paper, reading it. Why? I don't know, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Hogan signed the clause. If you get DQ'd, you lose the title. Jimmy is partially correct. Yep. But the Giant's not the champion, so the WCW Championship Committee vacated the title, and now the belt will be awarded to the winner of the 60-man World War III match. And that's how you close Nitro.
I do have a question because, again, I don't remember and I did not watch Halloween Havoc. How exactly did Hogan get DQ'd? Because last check, Hogan was getting his ass whooped by the Dungeon of Doom in the ring, so how did he get DQ'd?
I think I didn't watch, but I want to say it was Luger that came out to interfere.
He came out and he attacked the Giant.
Okay. Yeah, I'm assuming on his behalf.
I'll have to look that up. Okay. All right.
Yeah, we'll check it out eventually.
Yeah, it's the last 5 minutes. I'll go check that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for Nitro. So, it's your part of the show.
Yep. So,
what segment matters?
Yep. So, what is the moment of the night for you? It was not when the show ended tonight. There was actually 2 really good matches. The second half of Nitro was really, really good. I think in a departure, I'm going to say the moment of the night was just the second half of Nitro.
How you going to say second half of Nitro and the show was only like 45 minutes?
Yeah, well, the second half of Nitro being the third match in the main event.
Okay.
Because the whole everything with the promos from within the locker rooms and then the matches themselves was trash. Everything from Guerrero's match with Benoit, the main event, and things like that, despite the last promo, which was also trash, were good. So, and the thing of it is I wouldn't normally give it to one match, but the thing is, both of those matches were decent enough for me to say, I won't give it to one or the other. I'll just say both of them. So, second half.
All right. Well, for me, I do love that Benoit and Eddie Guerrero, but there was no story behind it. I enjoyed that Sting and Ric Flair.
Yeah.
That was dope. You can't go wrong. It's storytelling. Then when Lex Luger came out, he whispered something, and he had that little smirk. Like, ooh, I can't wait to see what happens next week.
Yeah, that smirk.
So that's my moment of the night.
That smirk that says, I got him. That smirk that says, I got him. So that was Nitro. There was one dark match, and that was Hacksaw Jim Duggan defeating Big Bubba Rogers. That was the match. That was it. Only one.
Damn, you would think Johnny B. Bad, the way he was glistening.
You would have thought Johnny B. Bad was in a 20-man battle royal by himself. Dude was...
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, on the other channel, on the November 6, 1995 edition of Monday Night Raw, we have the British Bulldog with Jim Cornette taking on Marty Jannetty.
With Jim Cornette?
Then you have...
Oh, interesting.
Huh?
With Jim Cornette? Interesting. I forgot about that. Go ahead.
Yep. Then you have Henry O. Godwin, the Hog, taking on Terry Richards. Do you know who Terry Richards is?
That's Rhino.
That's Rhino. And then you have Kama with Ted DiBiase taking on Tony Roy.
Taking on who?
Tony Roy. Tony Roy, it doesn't matter. I looked him up. It doesn't matter who Tony Roy is.
Hell, he was that guy.
And then in your main event, you have Isaac Yankem, DDS, and Jerry the King Lawler taking on Bret the Hitman Hart and Hakushi with Barry Horowitz. So that was the card for Raw. We know what happened on Nitro. What are you watching?
That's the answer is yeah, I'm probably not turning the channel. If I made it to the second half of Nitro, I'm not turning the channel. Even though I'm a huge Bret Hart stan, I'm a Bret Hart stan all day. But Kane before Kane was not very good, and Jerry the King Lawler at this point he was well past his prime. Hakushi decent, but so yeah, I think if I make it to the second half, if I didn't turn it in the first half of Nitro, that second half hour I'm not turning it.
I agree. I got Nitro.
Yeah.
I'll definitely go with Nitro.
Yeah.
So Nitro for the win.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next week, episode 11 of Nitro, we're gonna be watching the Macho Man and Randy Savage take on Meng. Macho Man is back.
He's back. Ooh yeah.
And then we have Chris Benoit taking on Kenzo Suzuki. So they still pushing Suzuki too.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a hard match right here, hard physical fight right here. So we also have a title match for your TV title. We have Johnny B. Bad taking on Eddie Guerrero. So here we go.
Boy.
Eddie's shining right now.
They're keeping him front and center, boy. They're keeping him front and center.
Benoit and Eddie are eating every week with the big boys. And then in your main event, we have Sting taking on Dean Malenko. We haven't seen Dean Malenko in a while, but you know it's gonna be. It should be pretty good.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see.
Yeah. Sting had been known to kind of be able to keep up with people, so it'll be interesting to see how well he adapts to Dean Malenko's style. Yeah.
That's right.
So, but it clearly we see two matches already in this list that are going to be like we're going to be glued to. Already, two matches are going to be glued to, and literally for the first time we have cruiserweights wrestling. There's not a straight cruiserweight match since they started. There's not a straight cruiserweight match. Two cruiserweight wrestlers wrestling non-cruiserweights. Not a cruiserweight match though. So this will be interesting. This will be interesting.
Yeah, so we're gonna tune in next week to see what happens.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'm the Notorious One. I am Dom. I'm here, my man BDC, and we will see you next week. Boom.